Scientists say that the Megalodon was extinct around 2.6 million years ago. However, the mythology of this giant shark still fascinates us to this day. Megalodons are thought to have grown to a staggering 60 feet long and ruled the Earth's oceans. However, not everybody is convinced that the Megalodon is dead and gone. These Megalodon truthers say the giant shark still roams the waters and living undiscovered. Today we've discovered some captivating stories that claim to have encountered this prehistoric predator. Let's dive into 5 terrifying alleged Megalodon encounters. Number 5, 1918. Australian naturalist David Steed wrote the book Sharks and Rays of the Australian Seas, in the book he shares an anecdote of a fisherman from 1918 in which some say describes a terrifying encounter with a megalodon. The fisherman writes, "In 1918 I recorded a sensation amongst the men at Port Stephens when for several days they refused to go to sea or to their regular fishing grounds in the vicinity of Bruton Island. The men had been working in the fishing grounds, which laid in deep water, when an immense shark of unbelievable proportions appeared, lifting pot after pot of crayfish and the mooring lines. The crayfish pots, it should be mentioned, were about 3 feet 6 inches in diameter and frequently contained from 2 to 3 dozen good-sized crayfish, each weighing several pounds. The men were all unanimous in saying that this shark was something the like of which they'd never dreamed of. Along with the local fisheries inspector, I questioned many of the men very closely, and they all agreed as to the gigantic stature of the beast and the length they gave me of the shark. They were absurd. I mentioned the huge size, however, as an indicator of the state of mind which this unusual giant had thrown them into. Bear in mind that these were men who were used to the sea and all sorts of weather and all sorts of sharks as well. One of the crew said that the shark was 300 feet long at least. Others said it was as long as the wharf on which we stood, about 115 feet. They affirmed that the water appeared to boil over a large space when the fish swam past. They were all familiar with whales, which they'd often seen passing at sea, but this was a vast shark. They'd seen its terrible head, which was at least as long as the roof on the wharf shed at Nelson's Bay. Impossible? Of course, but these were prosaic and rather stolid men, not given to fish stories, nor even to talking about their catches. Further, they knew that the person they were talking to, myself, had heard all the fish stories years before. One of the things that impressed me was that they all agreed as to the ghostly whitish colour of the vast fish. The local fisheries inspector at the time, Mr. Patton, agreed with me that it must have been something really gigantic to put these experienced men into such a state of fear panic. Number 4, 1927. Deep-sea angler and novelist Zane Grey claims to have had an encounter with a massive shark, which he believes could have been a megalodon. In a novel, Fact or Fiction, author Rick Emmer writes that Zane Grey came into contact with one of the maddening monsters of the South Pacific, a shark much longer than his 30-40 foot boat. He claims the shark was yellow and green, with a square head, immense pectoral fins, and a few white spots. Number 3, 1933. A second sighting was recorded again from Zane Grey, along with his son Lauren, off the coast of Rangiroa. The pair were aboard the SS Manganui, returning to San Francisco after a fishing trip to Tahiti. One evening at around 5 p.m, Lauren was intrigued when he spotted a small flock of spiralling seagulls near an area of yellow water. At first glance he thought it was only a whale, when a great brown tail rose from the waters. Lauren states, "I knew immediately that it was a monstrous shark. The huge round head appeared to be at least 10 to 12 feet across, if not more. It was my belief that this huge yellowish barnacle creature must have been at least 40 or 50 feet long. He was not a whale shark. The whale shark has a distinctive white purplish green appearance with large brown spots and much narrower head." Number 2, 1960. A book titled Let's Go Fossil Shark Tooth Hunting by author B.C. Cartmel describes a disturbing incident that took place off of Australia's Great Barrier Reef during the 1960s. He states an 85-foot ship experienced engine trouble, which forced it to weigh anchor for repairs. Although the men subsequently refused to openly report what they had seen for fear of public ridicule, the captain and his crew later told friends of sighting an immense shark as it moved slowly past their ship. Whitish in colour, they were awed by its size. It was as long, if not longer, than their boat. Experienced men of the sea, they too were certain the creature was not a whale. Some say that this is evidence that the Megalodon is alive and well. However, most are not convinced. Number 1, 2009. Known as the Black Demon of Cortez, this shark is believed to be massive and only seen off Mexico's Beja coast. Some reports claim this black shark may even be comparable in size to the ancient Megalodon, and could even be an ancestor to this prehistoric creature. One alleged encounter was by a fisherman named Eric Mack, who reported that the black demon rocked his boat and claims that its towering tail stuck 5 feet out of the water. This giant shark was even a focus on an episode of a TV called Monster Quest, shown on the History Channel. Sadly, investigators failed to find any evidence of this black demon. The verdict. These Megalodon encounters are compelling, but are they really proof that the Megalodon shark is still swimming in our oceans? We can safely say we know much more about our oceans than we did 100 years ago. Megan Bork, a Megalodon researcher at the University of New Mexico, explains Megalodons stayed close to the coast, so if they were still alive today, we'd know. It would be hard to miss a 50-foot plus super predator roaming the shores. She also states that our oceans are much too nutrient poor nowadays to support such a large animal. What are your thoughts? Give us some comments below.